What is up, everyone? Senpak here, and I'm excited today because this is my first week of the FPL Season 5. And I'm just here to show you guys what I prepped for this matchup, as the battle is going to happen pretty soon, and I'm really excited. So, before I go over what I built, I'm going to just quickly show off the matchup here, which is against the Elkhart Sawsbucks. This is our first week matchup, and on my draft I have Mew, Scizor, Gengar, Rotom-Wash, Colossal, Virizion, Mudstale, Swellow, Umbreon, Gramble, and Mega Altaria, in case you didn't see my draft analysis. And against the Elkhart Sawsbucks, who have the Clefable, Kartana, Slowbro, Gligar, Mineshaw, Vikavolt, Articuno, Diancie, Morpeko, Probopass, and Mega Charizard X. Now, that being said, let's get on to the prep that I made. So, I'm just going to briefly go over it. Here we have a Nasty Plot Mew that has Psychic, Power Gem, and Energy Ball as its coverage, and a Colbur Berry. I maximized Mew's speed to outspeed a max speed Mega Charizard X, and this outspeeds almost all of the Pokemon on the Sawsbucks team except for Kartana. And was there one more? Kartana. That's it. Kartana is the only Pokemon that outspeeds the Mew. So that's why I'm bringing a Nasty Plot Mew to this matchup. I gave it a Colbur Berry just in case it needed to take a knockoff from a Kartana or a knockoff from a Scarf Mineshaw. That way it can remain healthy and not be stopped from sweeping. Power Gem was one of my coverage options for Articuno, which will usually kill after a Nasty Plot, which is perfect. And Energy Ball lets me hit Slowbro and Diancie as well. It will always two-shot them, unless the Slowbro is very physically defensive, in which it will get one-shot. But that's all I really need, as Slowbro doesn't pose much of a threat back to me, and Diancie also cannot do all that much back. So I just really needed a way to take down the Slowbro. That's why I gave it Energy Ball and Nasty Paw, because I'm very worried about Slowbro in this matchup, and overall this is a very good win con for this match. Next, we got Scizor. We got an expert belt Scizor here, who is kind of a more defensive build, anyway on the special defense side. Rock and U-turn to try and pivot into my Mew or into anything that can get into a good matchup depending on what my opponent brings in. Bullet Punch is very important as it's going to do good damage against the Articuno and the Clefable, and Clefable is a really big problem for my team as it is the main stop to my setup Mew, which I do have answers towards. I can still win with Mew if I play my cards right. I do have Bullet Punch for those two mons mainly though, the Clefable and the Articuno. Superpower is going to be for Kartana because I don't have a ton on my team that wants to deal with Kartana, but Scizor can tank its hits fairly well even though it's specially defensive, and will one-shot a Kartana with Superpower, which is really nice. And I also gave it Roost so that I can keep it healthy throughout the match. Expert Belt was my item of choice because it will always two-shot a defensive it'll always two-shot a defensive Clefable, and I'm pretty sure it always two-shots Articuno as well, and Superpower will always kill thanks to the Expert Belt. I didn't really need the Leftovers recovery in this matchup because I am taking most hits that I want to tank reliably anyway. Most of them are not 2-hit KOs, and Roost is enough recovery. So that's about it for Scizor. It's mainly here to just deal with Clefable and Articuno. Fun fact, with this Scizor spread I actually live a Flamethrower, which is very nice. Next up is Rotom-Wash. Rotom-Wash is here with Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Defog, and Pain Split. It is here to remove hazards and be a reliable switch-in to mainly Slowbro and pivot when I get into Slowbro. I gave it Leftovers just for longevity, and Pain Split is here to also whittle down my opponent while healing me in return. Rotom-Wash is very important in this matchup, and I'm really worried about that Slowbro. That's why I have a lot of answers to that Slowbro, because it's one of my biggest problems in this matchup. I'm going to be very surprised if it does not come. Next up is Gengar. Now, Gengar has Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Dazzling Gleam, and Knockoff. and it's also rocking the Choice Scarf. Now, Choice Scarf Gengar is very good here because nothing, even any Scarfer that my opponent brings, can outspeed it. And because of that, I have free reign to Revenge Kill Kartana or any other Pokemon on their team. Even with a Scarf, I do a lot of damage to any Pokemon on their team. I can one-shot Kartana with Shadow Ball. I can one-shot Morpeko with Dazzling Gleam. The only Pokemon that wants to reliably wall my Gengar is the Articuno. I can't really do much to it, but that's why I have Knockoff to try to predict the Articuno coming in. Knock off the Heavy Duty Boots, which I'm assuming is going to be the bring of choice if Articuno comes. That way Articuno cannot keep reliably switching in to my Gengar. And I can slowly whittle it down with hazards, which is very helpful. That's why I have Knockoff on this set. This mon is very important as well. Next up is my Mudsdale. We got Rock Slide, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, and Roar. Rock Slide is literally only here to hit 2 Pokemon. It's here to hit Vikavolt and the Articuno, which surprisingly it does not one-shot Articuno. I mean, I don't really have attack investment on this, so it kind of makes sense, but a little surprised. But Mudsdale is only here for one main reason. 2 actually. It's here to set up Stealth Rocks, and it's here to not let Charizard sweep my whole team, because Mega Charizard X is a very big threat if I didn't bring this Mudsdale. I can take guaranteed a +1 Flare Blitz even if it's adamant after rocks, and I one-shot it after the recoil and Earthquake hits it. So Mega Charizard X will not have an easy time sweeping as long as I keep this Mudsdale alive. I do have Roar just in case I need to, you know, force out the Articuno or Gligar and get some extra hazard damage. It's going to be a little difficult to keep rocks up this match because of Gligar being such a good switch-in, but even besides that, Mudsdale is going to be very helpful just to kind of keep Megazard in check. And even if Megazard doesn't come, Mudsdale is still a nice check to Morpeko and is useful for Stealth Rocks. And last but most certainly not least, we have Mega Altaria. This thing is here to just wall break and let my Mew get the damage it needs off to win the game. So Mega Altaria's Double Edge, boosted by Pixelate. Name a switch-in that my opponent has, because the only fairy resist that my opponent has is Kartana, which I can deal with because of my coverage, and Probopass. Probopass does terrible in this matchup, so I don't even count that as an option. If he brings it, that's just better for me overall. I have a lot of answers to Probopass. So now, his only real switch into Double Edge is Kartana, because everything else gets 2-shot or 1-shot by Double Edge. Flamethrower is going to kill the Kartana even with an Adamant Nature on my Mega Altaria. Ice Beam is going to reliably 2-hit KO the Gligar, and Double Edge into Ice Beam will always kill Gligar, which is very nice. And Roost is for longevity, which is very important because I'm also using this as a defensive check to quite a few Pokemon, including Mindshao. Gligar, it can switch in pretty well into Gligar as well. And Vikavolt is a big one because I don't have a lot for Vikavolt in this matchup, and it's very scary. Even though it can Flash Cannon me, my HP investment does allow me to take a Flash Cannon, and I mainly made this physically defensive so that I can always live a Smart Strike from the Kartana and take hits very well from Mindshao. So that's why I have the physically defensive Altaria there. I just have a little bit of speed to speed creep things like Gligar and Articuno, because I can 2-shot both those mons. And that's pretty much it. I'm pretty confident that I can win this match. I'm not feeling advantageous in this matchup, but not necessarily disadvantageous. I think it's pretty even, and let's just see how it goes.